Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time, the first truly of the 2025 football season. We're happy to have you back. Welcome in. It is the start of training camp, officially practice on Wednesday, but training camp report day is tomorrow. We will be at the press conferences. We will have full coverage for you. It's been a hell of a news day as far as the Titans go, between Sneed and Cushenberry and Femi Oladejo and Will Levis and everything else that's happening out there in the universe across camps in the NFL. As some camps have already opened. Titans, of course, report tomorrow. A lot of the players are already here, obviously, and we will begin things in full effect today, as a matter of fact. There is no easing in, no slow transitional process in to this thing. They're just going to hit you over the head with a bunch of news items, start football practice, and get right back into it on the practice field. So all of these things to say that Levis is done for, and L'Jarius Sneed has an injury designation that is causing more questions than answers ahead of Titans camp. So that's exactly what we are here to discuss. We'll see what Robert has at the end of the show for in case you missed it. B. French says, will there be any no-shows tomorrow? Yeah, Levis, he's not going to be there. He's having surgery on the 29th. So getting ahead of the inevitable news story that would become Will Levis's absence at training camp practice. Will Levis will definitely not be there on Wednesday, which is why the team wanted to make sure that they got it out there today that Will Levis would not be available. So with all that to say, Sneed is the biggest news story of the day. Levis is the most interesting news story of the day, but Sneed is the most important story of the day. And that is where we are going to begin the discussion. So once you guys share the broadcast around Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're spending your time with us, we do appreciate when you do spend your time with us. Go ahead and share this broadcast around on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch as we talk about this Sneed injury designation that is going to cause you at least some initial consternation. Whether or not it factors into the regular season, obviously we have about a month and a half to go before that would actually be taken under advisement. But in the meantime, share the broadcast, text the link to a friend, tell your friends to do the same. And if we can have a big football season together, I know we always have a fun football season together, but if we can continue to grow the show in the process, that's always fun for us too. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Monday night. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud as always to be presented to you by the wonderful people at TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. Get your TrueMav Fitness workout in. Get your first one free as a Middle Tennessee resident at TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. Your first workout free, as I mentioned, conveniently located downtown Nashville. TrueMavFitness.com for more details. By Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Online at TwoRiversFord.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service is what they offer. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online, like I said, for more information today. Stephen Wood says, maybe I missed this answer, but why did Levis not address this after the season versus now? Well, since Levis has had the full day and the Sneed stuff is more recent information based on the airing of the show, we'll talk about Levis later when we get to our topic number 2. But in the first place, let's talk about Sneed, because while Levis is going to, I think, attract more headlines today, Sneed is infinitely more important to their football season one way or the other. Whether he's able to participate this football season, whether he's able to participate for even half the football season, that would be an improvement upon last year, or whether he's just going to continue to be a complete and total non-factor, whether he's on the field or not on the field, because when he was on the field, he wasn't that good either. And that's the place where we start today. So PUP, the physically unable to perform list, that is where L'Jarius Sneed is going to start. And as is Lloyd Cushenberry, who is, of course, also an important factor here. Those are two of the foundational pieces, or pieces that they meant to be foundational when they signed them both to long-term contracts. Obviously, they gave up draft capital to acquire Sneed and paid Lloyd Cushenberry the most guaranteed money that a center's ever been paid in NFL history to come here and anchor the line, and as they continue to rebuild things up, make sure that they had a viable solution to help at the time, Will Levis, their young, aspiring starting young quarterback, to ease the burden, to ease the degree of difficulty. Well, Will Levis failed. Lloyd Cushenberry got hurt in November, and Sneed never played a meaningful snap. I mean, he did play some snaps, but none of them were particularly meaningful because when he was on the field, he was not terribly helpful to their cause. You could also argue that the special teams did the defense no help on aggregate, that the the offensive turnovers that the Titans were responsible for tied for the lead 34 total turnovers with the Cleveland Browns last year. That certainly didn't help the defense. So maybe Sneed's getting a bit of a raw deal from all sides, and also compounded by the fact that he's paid a lot more money and that he missed basically all of the season. So with all of that to say, L'Jarius Sneed, as you look at this, here, I just simply need to know, as we head into camp with him expected to start on the physically unable to perform list, what is your level of confidence? Robert put it in, Robert, I want you to change the title. I want you to change the initial question, because I don't care right now about week one. We can talk about week one when we get closer to week one. Right now, I just want to know people's general confidence level in him. So what is your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 in L'Jarius Sneed right now? You can tell me, and we'll talk about it together. We'll hear from L'Jarius Sneed. We've played you this clip before, but this is a visual from his camp where he did talk about something, where it's the only time that he's talked this offseason about where his health status currently is, and it seems to be different from what his health status, at least at the start of training camp, is going to be. What is your level of confidence on a scale of 1 to 10 in L'Jarius Sneed, 2 years into a 4-year deal that pays him on average $17.6 million per year? We will discuss at length together. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it's presented by the South's most trusted Ford dealer. That's Two Rivers Ford, quality American-made Ford vehicles. Award-winning customer service is what they offer you. They always go above and beyond to make sure that the car buying process is fast, easy, and more fun. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet. Get that employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. That's Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com today. So L'Jarius Sneed, what is your level of confidence in him? Katie on Facebook goes an 8 out of 10, which is crazy for a player that has played almost no football for you since he signed here, since he was traded for and then signed to a long-term deal here. To give him an 8 out of 10 is an incredible amount of confidence, or just at least an irrational amount of optimism. Katie, I cannot possibly agree, though you're entitled to your opinion. You are welcome to submit your opinion. If that is in fact how you feel, then I would be fascinated to know why. I suppose I just need a follow-up. Even Van Jeffrey, who says a 6. I mean, anything. You guys are very generous with this player. Maybe you're just wishing. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to provide some additional context to the number that you provide for your confidence level, I'd be curious to see what some of you have to say as a means of rationalizing that. A 6 feels way, way, way high. Johnny Chiefer on on Facebook Live says, if he doesn't produce this year, it's a wasted trade and sign. Well, yeah, obviously, no shit. Yes. If you signed a player to a 2-year or a 4-year deal worth $17.6 million a year, and halfway through that deal, you don't have anything to show for it, well, no shit. It's a wasted trade and sign. Yes, thank you, Captain Obvious, for your submission there. But that's okay. I mean, you're not wrong. MB says, confidence of what? That he'll get on the field or that he'll play? Well, either. Your confidence. That's a very general term, MB. Don't overcomplicate it. Him as a player. What is your level of confidence in him? Do you think that L'Jarius Sneed will return to form, will be a 2-time defending Super Bowl champion caliber corner the way that he was for the Kansas City Chiefs? Clearly, Katie thinks so because she's giving it an 8. Do you think he will factor in not at all whatsoever, that a degenerative knee issue and an additional injury that he suffered in week 5 and then was not heard from again after the fact, or was, I guess, suffered in week 6, but only played in 5 games, was not heard from at all on the field afterwards? If you feel that way, and you feel it's going to continue to go that way, then you're a Mar, you're a 0. It's in the player himself. What is your level of confidence in L'Jarius Sneed as a member of the Tennessee Titans? In the comment section, you guys can let us know. Well, Titans fans were feeling okay about it, still skeptical, but okay about it, because they saw this clip from his camp at his local high school in Louisiana, where he goes back to in the summer and does this youth football camp. And it's a great thing that he does. But L'Jarius Sneed, talking about his return to football after a year of injury, gave Titans fans a bit more confidence than it sounds like they should have.
Minden alum L'Jarius Sneed was back in town this past week. After winning 2 Super Bowls with the Chiefs, the former 4th-round draft pick was traded to the Titans. He spent his first season in Tennessee sidelined due to injury, but Sneed says he's ready to get back to business.
I'm healthy as I've been. Last year, my first year didn't go as planned, but it's time to come out and show the world and show what God been instilling in me this entire year. I'm ready to get back on the field, and that's my life. That's what I do for a living. And I missed the whole year, and I have to remind everybody who L'Jarius Sneed is.
So he said he's as healthy as he's been, which is, maybe I'm nitpicking, but there's just enough wiggle room in there for him to not be saying, well, I'm healthy as I've ever been, because that's not what he technically says in that clip. He says, I'm as healthy as I've been, which isn't healthy at all in that circumstance, right? He has been somebody who has been not available. He has been somebody who has a degenerative knee issue that already costs him practice time. He has a specific management plan, but last year, and I don't blame him that it was his fault that he got hurt. It wasn't his fault that he got hurt. It just happened to be that situation. But in the case of L'Jarius Sneed, as healthy as he's been, is a very open-ended or wiggle room type of answer. Now, maybe he meant to say he's as healthy as he's ever been, because he clearly there is espousing confidence, like, I'm going to remind people who I am. I'm going to get back to form. I'm paraphrasing here, but you heard the clip from himself. So he's at least alleging that he's getting ready to make a return to form to remind people who L'Jarius Sneed is. What is my level of confidence that he's capable of doing that? I give him a 2 out of 10. I mean, it's already a high variance position. He's already coming in here with a condition that has a management plan, but is still a condition that is going to not get better, but get worse over time as he continues to age. He plays the most difficult position, I would argue, on the football field to maintain a consistent level of production, right? Corner is damn near impossible under good circumstances. It is a highly athletic, highly skilled position. The rules are against you in this case. The athleticism is against you because you're going up against pterodactyls. Every team has one of these fire-breathing dragon wide receivers, it seems, anymore, and you're going to have a hard time defending those players because you're automatically working backwards, trying to keep pace with these super athletes and working against a rule book that is designed to favor the offense in that particular situation. You also are paid a lot more money, and you are dealing with an injury that's never bothered you before, but has just now come up and cost you, 12 weeks of your first year on the Titans roster, and something that apparently, guys, he's going to start the year on PUP, which means he's not healthy. Maybe that's just a part of his management plan and they're slow playing him, but PUP, physically unable to perform, how else are you supposed to take that? That leaves you far more questions than answers. And that's not even compounded with the idea of his potential, his ongoing, we will call it an ongoing legal situation, because there has not yet been a legal resolution to the allegations that he was involved in a shooting. It did not cause anybody to die, but he was involved in a shooting. At least there's a lawsuit alleging that he was involved in a shooting. And that after the fact, the additional allegations were that the victim is saying that L'Jarius Sneed and L'Jarius Sneed's mother tried to get him to suppress the information to, I assume, protect L'Jarius Sneed, an NFL football player who doesn't want this in the news. So it's not even about the off-the-field stuff, though that one situation would give you even more reason, more cause to side-eye him a little bit and be like, what are you doing out here, man? This is a player that at one time you could at least make the argument. Maybe it's not an easy argument, but you could at least make the argument that L'Jarius Sneed, while the Chiefs were winning Super Bowls, was, if not the best corner in football, one of the best. That's not a hard argument to make at all. He was excellent. But what did he have in Kansas City that he doesn't have here? He was on one of the best defenses in football. He was coached by, arguably, I think Steve Spagnuolo was, it's probably between Vic Fangio and Steve Spagnuolo. And I also think Vance Joseph, the Broncos defensive coordinator, who the Titans, of course, will see in week 1, deserves some credit here too. Steve Spagnuolo is no worse than the third best defensive coordinator in football. So he goes from the best defense, or one of the best defenses, under the best defensive coach, potentially, going in NFL football right now, most accomplished defensive coordinator, active in NFL football right now. And he comes to the Titans, and he's plagued by terrible special teams and a quarterback that turns the ball over and a defense that's young and isn't ready to play all these different pieces and parts. And then he, on top of that, plays so poorly that, and I know it's only a Pro Football Focus grade, so it's not the end-all be-all, but guys, this is a career worst by a mile for L'Jarius Sneed. And that's in the 5 games that he did play. He played a total of 301 defensive snaps last year. It's by far the lowest of his career, second lowest to his rookie season. It was 541. As a total grade, as an overall player grade, a defensive grade for L'Jarius Sneed, his previous low was 63.6 in 2021 in Kansas City. Last year, in the 5 games that he played, he graded out with a 36.3. From 63.6 to 36.3, that is a career low by a mile. His coverage grade was also a career low by a mile. His previous low was 61.7, also in that 2021 season. Last year, 36.8. We know the Titans didn't have a pass rush, and they didn't have an overwhelmingly good defense, and the linebackers were out of position, and Sneed playing for a first-time defensive coordinator in Denard Wilson and all these different things. So it's not all on Sneed. It's not his fault that he got hurt, by the way. But there is no reason to be overwhelmingly optimistic. Even the most blind fans among you would look at this and say, yeah, I don't know about the L'Jarius Sneed thing. Because there's a reality. One, the most likely scenario is that he's never the player that he was in Kansas City, that you paid for what Kansas City actually got, and that after the fact, you're probably not going to get the best version of that player. So that's the first thing. That's the most likely scenario. And that's arguably best case scenario, that he ends up being a player, but that he's not the best player that he was, or the best version of the player that he was, because you've already seen that and you've already paid for that, even though you're not the team that got those years, right? But that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is that his health continues to get worse, is that he's in 1 week, out another, that the management situation on top of whatever he's currently dealing with, I mean, we know what he's currently dealing with, but the fact that he's still dealing with it is crazy after missing from week 6 on, from that Colts game on last year, and not even being able to figure out to put him on IR until basically, what was that, November? I think it was November or even early December when they finally shut him down. And him, is telling us in the locker room in the final week of the regular season, because that was the next time that he popped up after the injury that caused him to get shut down, was that the medical evaluation was difficult to figure out, difficult to work through, that he needed a bone marrow transfusion for a quad injury is crazy. And again, not even the situation that you were going to have to manage on the front end when you acquired this player. So you're expecting L'Jarius Sneed to beat the odds on a variety of different fronts. And while there's a couple of different things here, all right? I'm not going to question L'Jarius Sneed's motivations. What I do know about players, though, is first you want the ring, then you want the big contract. L'Jarius Sneed has 2 rings. What he does after the fact is gravy as far as his NFL career goes, because now he has the second contract. So, and he earned the second contract, by the way, but, you're dealing with the unintended consequences of what happens when you pay a player to come somewhere else when he's been really, really good on a really, really good team. I don't question L'Jarius Sneed's motivation. I have no question that he wants to win. I think that if you come from the kind of background that L'Jarius Sneed does, you are prepared to work hard, that you have that in you. And maybe you've accomplished enough to where you don't bust it the way that you did when you were a 4th-round pick on a rookie contract out of La Tech, but you're still a high-level player, and that work ethic is still there. I don't doubt that whatsoever, but I do look around and say, well, yeah, he can work as hard as he wants, but if his body's failing him, what does it matter? That's why my confidence is at a 2. His position is arguably the most difficult on the football field. His contract is not great. You've got 3 years left on this, and next year you can get out from after next year, or after this year, I guess, you can get out from under it without a huge dead cap hit, but there's still dead money that you're paying. 3, the physical body of L'Jarius Sneed is now an overwhelming concern beyond the concerns that he already came in with. So if you're giving him anything above a 4, I think you're nuts. He's got to prove it to you. He's telling you that he has to remind people who L'Jarius Sneed is. I hope for his sake he can get back to it, because that would be awful to see a promising career, a successful career, just go up in smoke so quickly. But that's what's at risk of happening here. 5 games last season, 5 games. And the more frustrating part has to be the fact that he was bad. He was bad when he played. He was bad when he was healthy. And then when he got hurt, that's the issue, that it has now compounded this thing to make it even more complicated. You have no idea if he's ever going to get back to that form. I would bet against it. Not that I'm rooting against it, but I would bet against it. Absolutely. It would be a huge upset for him to come back on all these different fronts to get back to the kind of player that he was. Maybe he can get to a percentage of that, and that would be a great success. If he's just available, that would be a great success. And again, PUP, there's 2 different kinds, active and reserve. One is going to just take up an active roster spot as you work your way through. The other is going to cost him at least 4 games if they start the season needing to put him on PUP. Right now, it's just training camp, so we're not worried about the regular season yet, though we're not off to a hot start here. And that is the thing that we are up against. Because I see a lot of comments like, let's trade him for a 7th and move on. David Fletcher says con artist. Again, I don't think that it's his fault. I don't think you can't blame the guy for getting a helmet to the thigh and not being able to figure out the injury after the fact. You can criticize his performance before the injury happened, but the biggest thing that's at hand is the fact that you don't know if physically he's going to be right again. You can get better as a player with more time. Just as a quarterback needs continuity year over year to be better in an offensive system, I think it's fair to give L'Jarius Sneed a little bit of grace on the defense that he was playing on, especially how bad the special teams and the offense that he was playing with, or I guess alongside, were, that did not set that defense up for success. So none of this is being done intentionally. You can criticize his off-the-field decision-making in the one situation where he was away with the team recovering. That's a bad look. It's a terrible look. You can criticize his play on the field for those first 5 games. But everything after that, is just the consequences of football. And unfortunately for you, you're paying a shit ton of money for the consequences of football to happen to L'Jarius Sneed now, as opposed to when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's Mike Borgonzi's problem again, which is crazy because Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker, those were the 2 that were the primary operating parties in doing that deal. And, for all the good it did them. Sorry, Mike. And by the way, Brinker was brought in with Ran Carthon. Ran Carthon got fired. Brinker has roster control. L'Jarius Sneed, Will Levis, all these, Kenneth Murray, like all these different personnel decisions. Yeah, you can blame Ran totally if you want to, but Brian Callahan was a part of the brain trust that brought him in here, as was Chad Brinker. Both of those people still have their jobs. Ran Carthon's out here working for CBS. So with all that to say, L'Jarius Sneed, we'll see how it moves forward. Lloyd Cushenberry, I fully expected to start on PUP. An Achilles injury for a guy that size is just going to take some time. Now we'll move on to Will Levis. June Travis says, I'm sorry, Buck, but the hell with Will Levis. He quit on the team right before training camp to have surgery when he could have had that right after last season. He knew he lost his job. Strong disagree with that. What does Will Levis care about quitting on the Tennessee Titans? Will Levis needs to take care of Will Levis. I don't give a shit about the Tennessee Titans if I'm Will Levis. For what? Absolutely not. We can get into that. Why don't we get into that coming up next? Right after I remind, well, let me ask you this question first on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch in the comment section if you would like to engage there. Relating to Will Levis, fair or foul? Simple as that. Will Levis waiting until July to get his season-ending surgery, and really the week leading up to camp. Will Levis, fair or foul? His decision to get this done. We will talk about this together, and I will explain to you why I believe it is completely fair if I'm Will Levis. Right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Go to truemathfitness.com. Your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled. No workout ever repeated. Go to truemathfitness.com for your first workout free. They are there to help you through the process, there to put you over the top and get you to the place in your physical fitness where you are trying to achieve and continue to build upon that, given the more time that you spend with them. Personal training, group fitness classes, an open gym for you to work out as you please. truemathfitness.com for more details today. All right, fair or foul? Will Levis's decision to shut it down for the rest of the regular season. And it is important to say, this is Will Levis's decision. This is not the decision of the Titans. I see a handful of fouls to start us off from Corey Smith, Mike Sanders. Frederick Ross says fair. Rebecca disagrees. She says foul. Fair. Mike Bell says he hasn't given this shit in his whole career. I don't know what that means. He hasn't given a shit, maybe is what you're trying to say, his whole career. But that's not true either. Will Levis cares very much. The problem is he just has a nuclear meltdown when he gets out on the field. And that is not, it's never question the fact that he cared, never question the fact that he worked hard. I think he's plenty smart enough to understand what's going on. He just makes bad decisions, at least in the practice facility, in the meetings. Nothing that we've heard from the coaching staff, nothing that I've talked to people behind the scenes about indicates that Will Levis is not bright enough to pick up on what they're putting down. It's just that he implodes, and you can't have that. So fair or foul in the comment section. And some of you are going to hate Will Levis no matter what he does because he pissed you off and his play was poor, and you're going to hold that against him personally. I think that's stupid. You can do that. You can resent what your football season was last year. You can blame Will Levis for the majority of it. You would be right to do just that. But on a personal level, that's not a Will Levis situation. You shouldn't be hateful towards him just because he was a bad quarterback for your team. You don't have to deal with him anymore. In fact, the best news on all of this is we probably don't have to talk about Will Levis, but one more time, whatever the final roster transaction, be it a trade or a release with Will Levis, and that's going to be in 2026. So, this is the last meaningful time that we will spend on Will Levis, which is chef's kiss. We love. So, respectfully to Will, because I wouldn't wish his situation on anybody, even though his performance earned him a lot of the shit that he gets. A lot of this stuff, it's just bad circumstance, just like Sneed. I don't blame Sneed for getting injured. I don't blame Will Levis for getting injured either. So fair or foul in the comment section, let me know and we will talk about it together. Will Levis gave no indication. The Titans coaching staff gave no indication that Will Levis's shoulder, the sprained AC joint from last year's Dolphins game that was re-aggravated against the Jags late in the season, gave no indication whatsoever that was an issue for him in the offseason program. But here is Will Levis speaking with us about his shoulder, Cam Ward, and all the different offseason work that he's put in.
Great. Last 6 weeks have been fun, getting back here with the guys. We're not training on my own out in California, so that was a lot of fun for about 7 weeks. And had some time with the family and time to enjoy the rest of my life outside of football.
What'd you learn from going out to California with Jordan Palmer?
It was a lot of just kind of relearning my stroke, just relearning my body and trying to get back to the basics with him. And I feel like it's definitely paid off. Been feeling good.
What's feeling like for you going into year 3 and obviously with some new faces in the room?
The what?
What's it feeling like for you going into year 3 and obviously new faces in the room?
I feel more and more comfortable every day. It's all it takes at this position is just reps and experience, and try to take advantage of it anytime that I can to improve. I'm just pumped about not having to learn a new offense. So that's been fun to kind of get to the level of 300, 400 of the playbook and being able to go out and just run anything without really even talking about it, which is cool.
What have you liked about the competition, not just with Cam, but also the working relationship that you guys are developing?
Yeah, we got a good room. I feel like I've been blessed being able to be in just some great rooms with great guys in my career, and we are able to keep it light when we need to and talk about things outside of ball and then bring it back in, hone in, and we got a lot of smart dudes and a lot of guys with a lot of experience to be able to lean on in the room, so it's been great.
Brian said he wanted you guys not to forget last year, to learn from it and to be motivated by it. You feel the same way?
Yeah, no doubt. I'll never forget it. I'm grateful for it. I feel like I'm going to look back and, that year, I feel like I got thrown absolutely everything at me and nothing can really surprise me at this point. So, as much as it sucked while we were in it, in retrospect, I think we can all say that we've learned a lot from it. And especially, Brian, the second year being a head coach, I think, the first year, just his little test run, he's already made improvements to his philosophy and just his way of going about things, which all of us have recognized and appreciated, just like everyone else has been trying to improve their everyday lifestyle. I'm not trying to have that mindset. I'm just trying to do the right thing, keep running the plays, keep learning, keep getting better every day. I feel like, I've definitely had that mindset the last 6 weeks, and it's kind of seen the benefits of it.
Is the biggest thing for you right now is just being a pro? I mean, is this a good lesson for you on just how being a pro is in this league and having to show up regardless of what the circumstances are?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone who's ever been in my situation can agree that it sucks, and just trying to do everything I can to not let it affect me, and just being just the same dude every day in the building and being here for the guys however I can, and just trying to get better every day. I mean, I haven't been a backup in a while. I don't plan on shifting my mindset at all, regardless of what the situation is. So I'm just gonna be ready to play quarterback whenever my name's called.
So that is Will Levis speaking at training camp. Brian Callahan did nothing but praise him this offseason. And again, this was his decision to shut himself down for the year. So how did we get there with Will Levis? And I'll explain it to you because Mike Bell says make it make sense, quite simply. People are questioning how he went through the whole offseason program as a full participant without any indication or an indication that the shoulder may be something that should shut him down. Simple. He missed 3 games last year, came back and played his best stretch of football, arguably. And you can say, well, that still wasn't good enough, but that's not the point. Will Levis sprained the AC joint in Miami early in the season, missed 3 games, came back, played his best stretch of football. Okay, well, that's an injury that you can play through. It doesn't necessarily recover all the way without surgery, which is why the surgery is an option. But he was able to play through that. Then he got benched for performance later. He re-aggravated against the Jags. We know this, but it's a injury that you can be cleared to play through. He was just last year. So it's no question of, well, what do you mean? He went through this whole offseason program. He doesn't have any problems. He comes back from 6 weeks off and he says, no mas. Well, yeah. Yeah. He just did it last year. He played through in an attempt to both keep his job and to prove that he could still do this. He didn't. He got benched. Okay, that's fine. Then the idea of, well, why not get it after the season happened? Why would he do that? Of course, the Titans were going to draft a quarterback. We didn't know at the time, at least right when the season ended, that it would be the number 1 overall pick or that it would be Cam Ward as the number 1 overall pick. There was no clarity just yet, but by February we knew, by Combine we knew. So why would Will Levis, knowing that the number 1 overall pick at quarterback was coming in here basically as early as his 2nd month of the offseason, why wouldn't he get the surgery then? Well, why the hell would he? He's going to come in. He's going to compete. He's going to play in preseason games and training camp. And his representation, his agency, is going to actively seek trade partners. He wants to play somewhere else. He wants to play football. Maybe it's not going to be here, but he wants to continue to compete. So why would he get a shoulder surgery that is going to cost him now this much time? Why would he do that, knowing that he was going to get an opportunity or that his representation was going to try and seek an opportunity for himself elsewhere? All right. So we checked the why didn't you get it after the season or right when the season ended off the list. Okay. So then you come back for the mandatory minicamp. You come back for OTAs, the voluntary stuff, all the offseason program and conditioning. And you say, well, he goes through all of that and then he has 6 weeks. Why didn't you get the surgery then? Well, my understanding is that the Titans really meant what they said. They weren't really trying to trade him. Now, you could also argue, why the hell would they try to trade him before training camp and preseason, where he'd have the opportunity to showcase potentially the best version of himself? That's a reason why the Titans weren't pushing super hard at the time. But my understanding is that his representation was given an indication by the team that they weren't really keen on trading him regardless. That Will Levis was going to be, or at least they were going to make an attempt to make Will Levis a backup here. Okay. So you're telling me if I'm Will Levis and I seek, and from what I understand, he got at least 3 other independent opinions from Neil Elitrosh, who's a renowned NFL sports surgeon, who a lot of people go to for ACLs and shoulders, for knees, for hips. Neil Elitrosh is respected as one of the top people in his field. He did Harold Landry's ACL repair. He fixed Lawan's ACL after the botched ACL that was done by, I'm blanking, James Andrews, who Lawan is, as far as I know, still in a lawsuit with. So gets consultation from Neil Elitrosh, at least 2 other doctors, comes in and says, well, you're not even gonna give me an opportunity to compete elsewhere. You really want me to be the backup here? Why would I go through an entire season as a backup quarterback without having this surgery, risk playing again, risk hurting myself again, risk exacerbating the injury just to be your backup quarterback here? Why would I do that? For what? What sense does that make if you're Will Levis? Now you can say, well, he's not doing something in the best interest of the team. I don't give a shit about the team. He's not the starting quarterback anymore. He's done everything that he needed to do, and he played himself out of a job. He is doing the same thing to them that they did to him after he didn't perform. They just pushed him to the side. Said, that's okay. We'll find somebody else. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort. We're going to go in a different direction, just like any other corporation or any other company would do before that. In what world would you, if you were in the situation that Will Levis was, not get that surgery right now as soon as you find out, or when you find out through the process of these last couple of months, that he's not going to get moved, that they don't actually want to move him, which, by the way, is kind of crazy to me. But that's at least the common theme that I was able to get talking to a variety of different people, both on the team side and the representation side, between last night and today. And in fact, the best summary that I got of this was of Will. It was an injury sustained in the early part of the last year Dolphins game that was further aggravated in the season Jaguars game. Hasn't been able to shake the discomfort. It's still bothering him. He's dedicated to return to be able to compete at the highest level possible. And I can't say where I got that, but I would tell you that it's a source close to the situation is how we will categorize it. That also has a vested interest in seeing Will Levis succeed elsewhere. Will Levis is going to get an accrued season that counts towards the NFL pension by going on injured reserve this year. That's smart. Do that. Well, for Will Levis, it's self-preservation now. So anybody that's acting like it's any kind of conspiratorial situation or, oh, he quit on the team or some other whiny bullshit that isn't actually grounded in reality whatsoever, like Will Levis stopped owing you anything when Will Levis got benched. And anything that you get out of Will Levis beyond what he owed you, which was just to perform as well as he could and work as hard as he could, and he did those things and he failed spectacularly, and that's fine. That's in the past. We're moving on. Now for Will Levis, it's about giving himself the best possible position to succeed and moving forward as quickly as he can and with as much of his health as he can and not further exacerbating the situation. B. French says and again, you're entitled to disagree with this, but I'm just going to tell you that you're wrong. B. French says, I disagree. I would have had the surgery as soon as the offseason took place. You never know when your next opportunity is in this league will happen. Yeah, that's exactly why he didn't have the surgery. You just made the case for him not having the surgery. You never know when your next opportunity is going to happen. So he's trying to make himself as available as humanly possible. He's trying to play through the discomfort to make sure that his next opportunity is possible. And then the Titans are the ones telling him, no, we're not going to give you another opportunity. We're not going to send you, or we're not going to actively try and send you to another opportunity. We'd like to keep you here for the foreseeable future. And you're going to look around and say, for what? So no, you just made the exact case to the opposite. You made the case for Will Levis to have to not have the surgery because he knew that his next opportunity in the league is not guaranteed. The Titans are at least in part responsible for depriving him of another opportunity. Maybe you don't think he deserves another opportunity. That's another conversation to have. But if the team is at least if you're going to look around and say the most obvious thing is to trade Will Levis, but the team says, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll try to make him a backup. No. You paid Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle. Let them be your backups. I'm not getting hurt for you. Not now. Not a chance. Not a chance at all. Kendall says, I want to throw a big shade at Nate Washington for how he attacked the team for Levis's surgery. Well, Nate's going to be on the radio show. I texted Nate. As soon as I saw him lighting Levis and the rest of it on fire today. And Nate is going to be on the radio show, I think, on Thursday because we're at camp. Oh, actually, I don't know. It would probably have to be Friday, depending on the schedule, because I don't want to do a Nate Washington interview when we can't have him on camera. So maybe Friday, maybe we can try and squeeze him in there tomorrow. We'll see what his, I know he's in Houston. He's on the road, but I texted Nate today. I go, we are going to need, I said, it's time to make a return to the radio show. And he texted me back, LOL, I think it is. And then he provided me some additional color commentary that I'm not going to provide to you here. But Nate, if Nate wants to share that on the radio show, he can do that when he jumps on. So we'll look forward to having Nate at some point this week. We'll figure it out. I don't want to do it though. I don't want to do a Zoom interview while I'm at training camp sitting on remote and I can't really see him. And you guys, I don't know that we can broadcast that in the way that I would want it to. But better to have Nate in the best possible circumstance because Nate's just a good guest anyway. We'll look forward to having him. So this is the best decision that Will Levis has made of his Titans career. This is the best decision that Will Levis has made. And the fact that there are some conspiratorial thoughts out there about it, I get it. A lot of you guys just aren't going to like him no matter what he does, and that's okay. You, like I said, feel that way if you want to. I'm just telling you that is not the correct way. That is not the best possible way to view this circumstance. And if you were in his circumstance and you had failed as spectacularly as you did, and you still wanted to work doing, playing professional football for as long as you could, you would do the exact same thing. In fact, many of you would probably handle it worse. If I'm being completely honest with you, I would probably handle it worse. I know I would probably handle it worse. Will Levis, like I said, Will Levis is a bad quarterback. He's not a bad guy. Anyway, in case you missed it, Robert, pry yourself off your chair, peel your ass off that seat. What do you got for us? And in case you missed it, let's see. Yeah, take off your shirt. We don't want clothes. This is not a clothed segment. Take it off, big boy. You're stripping down as we speak right now. What have you brought us today for in case you missed it? It feels like you haven't done it for like 6 months.
I'm looking red, boy. I'm looking tan. If you're pale, that pale red is the tan of pale. So like I'm red,
you're pink.
I'm getting I'd show you. Look at I mowed shirtless. I'll stand up. You can see a little. Oh yeah, look at that.
Ooh, that's so much flesh. That is the definition of what they call a Big Mac. Get your ass back on here. You're not done yet.
You're going to start being nice to me, or I'm going to start kissing you on the cheek while you're asleep. One of the two. You either get videos of me kissing you on the cheek while you're asleep, or you start being nice to me. And don't try your shove me out of here. We both know you don't know how to do it. Don't. That shit doesn't work. You better quit that. People are going to accuse us of having fun at work if you keep that up. We had a lot of Titans news today. Titans news today, and I think something fell through the cracks. Did you see the serious rebrand that is happening in college football?
No.
The AAC, the American Athletic Conference, let it be known today that they will no longer be known as the American Athletic Conference, no longer be known as the AAC. They will simply be American. That's all. That's it.
Video? There's no supporting media here?
No, there's a piece. There's a piece I'd like you to see. It's because what I'd like to bring up. They debuted the first conference mascot. I present to you the American mascot, Soar.
Ugh.
Come on. You don't like the shoulder pads?
I don't like that.
Does the sleep help at all?
Did they just let ChatGPT make them a mascot? That's what this looks like. This looks like one of your ChatGPT generated images. You're scaring a cat.
You don't think they're excited about it?
No.
Listen. I am split. On one hand, I like the creativity and being like, you know what? Our conference needs a mascot. We need somebody to be out there hanging out at media days, going to these events, hanging out on the sidelines. What I don't like is they did such a shitty job with it. Like, I get it. American Eagle.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we got it. But it literally looks like I bet it's a ChatGPT generated image. Like that's not something that anybody spent any time on or put any thought into or effort other than Eagle American. Make it happen, baby. Spit out an image and we'll post it everywhere for the world.
He's got the proper number of fingers. You can't really see his toes because he's wearing tennis shoes, which would be really tough for Eagles because they have talons. I don't think he should be wearing shoes. Personally, I don't like my mascots to wear pants.
Why not just make it an eagle? Like just a regular eagle. Why does the eagle have to be a football player?
I think there's just too many well-known Eagles. You know, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Eagles.
Also, why does the conference need a mascot?
Because they're going through a rebrand, Buck. Isn't that what successful conferences do when they're definitely not going through a midlife crisis and definitely not at risk of losing Memphis and Tulane to try? You saw Memphis today try to pay a quarter of $1 billion to buy their way.
No, I didn't see that. I've been so
Oh.
caught. I literally went from the local show and all the Titans news. I did 2 hours of Fox where we were talking about LeBron and some other shit that I wanted to talk. Well, we talked a lot about the Cowboys on Fox today. But and then I just came right here and we did the primetime show. I haven't seen anything college football related.
Okay, so this is reporting done by Brett McMurphy. Memphis reportedly was trying to buy their way into the Big 12, offering a $250 million sponsorship to join the league, which Brett McMurphy then replied to his own response saying the Big 12 is not interested in adding Memphis for that money. So
They said keep your poverty $250 million. We will leave you in the American with your Chat GPT generated eagle.
we don't need your money.
Became a Big 12 fan. Did they just call Memphis the Poors? That makes me happy.
Yes, they did.
That makes me happy.
They did. So the American, they have their mascot. Tomorrow on the show, I will be asking both you and Lucas to come up with mascots for the SEC. And what if? Yeah, we just come up. What would the SEC's mascot be if they had one? And then
also Lucas would have to show up to work to participate in this exercise, which I'm just not convinced is going to happen at this point.
Well, he was also bullying me in our chat, so you know what? He's kind of dead to me.
Oh, I don't know. Is it so mean that you would kill off the one saving grace that you have for 3 hours, the one buffer that you have between me and you, so where I'm not bullying you the entire time?
I don't know. I kind of, if it carries on this way, I have no problem doing this the whole show. I have no problem doing this. Like I'll take Lucas out, I'll take you out, like whoever. Okay, so what happens is I put out, if you guys are familiar with the Coldplay CEO cheating, I put out a meme.
It's the CEO of the company Astronomer at a Coldplay concert with his head of HR, both of them working for the company, famously caught on the Jumbotron having an affair. The lead singer of Coldplay calls them out, says that must be an affair while singing the song. That's the funniest part. The fact is that Chris Martin, I think is his name. That Chris Martin immediately identified, oh no, that's an affair. That guy ducked out so fast, so bad. Unbelievable content.
So I did that. Everyone else is putting these pictures out like, oh, look here. Oh no, I got caught at the Coldplay concert. And I put it in our chat. Like that's my buffer to be like, is this funny? I put it in there. It's this photo. And Lucas goes, damn, have you been working out?
Also, I'm telling you, you should put that out on social media and say, what would it take for Buck to actually hold me like this? Because I'm never going to embrace you like that for as long as we're friends.
Well, I already put it out. You can go see it on my Twitter. Follow me at Robbie_Walsh, WALSH.
Hey, that's enough of that. Oh, I went the wrong way. Damn it.
I tried again. I'm back. What?
Get out of here. God damn it. I even looked at my hands before I did that, and I still screwed it up. That's going to do it for us tonight. We think Lucas is going to be back on the radio show. For all I know, he's still in Brazil. We don't need him. Jacob Ray says, so Buck, you're saying if you weren't friends, you wouldn't go for him? Go for, what do you mean? Go to the Coldplay concert for him? No, I wouldn't. Or go for him in general. No. I'm not even going to try it this time. Get out of here. That's going to do it for us tonight. Titans press conferences. Mike Borgonzi, Chad Breaker will carry it on the show in the noon hour. I'm going to do the first 2 hours in studio. Then I'll head on down to St. Thomas Sports Park and cover the press conference live. We'll leave Lucas and Bert to their own devices. All they have to do is toss it to the press conference. Hopefully they can do that competently enough, although based on our Titans report fiasco today with a Mike Vrabel comment on Ryan Tannehill getting hurt in London, which was 2023. That's the craziest part of that Titans report. Not as only is it not last season, it's 2 years ago. Unreal. Anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. 10-1 tomorrow on 104.5 The Zone. We will see you all there. Go home!
Nashville, go home!